Thank you so much for joining us either this morning or this evening, depending on where you're located. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this virtual artist exchange, which has been organized by the City of San José and who has invited its paid city, uMhlathuze, in South Africa to take part in this shared space of creative dialogue. And so I'd like to start off just by saying thank you both to San José and uMhlathuze for the invitation to present on the Race Resilience Culture Initiative. My name is Megan Swain, and I'm a professional officer at ICLEI Africa in the Climate Change, Energy and Resilience stream. And I am the project manager for Race Resilience Culture Initiative on the ICLEI Africa side. Next slide, please. So this is a brief run of show of how today is going to work. Once I finish the introduction and the welcome, I'll hand over to Danielle to hear a bit more context around the City of San José. Then we will hand over to uMhlathuze, and then we will start to hear from the artists from each city, closing out with questions and answers for our artists, and finally ending off this great engagement for today. Next slide, please. So ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, is a global network with more than 2,500 local and regional governments committed to sustainable urban development. We are active in 125 countries and we influence sustainability policy and drive local action. Our members and team of experts work together through peer exchanges, partnerships, and capacity building to create systematic change for urban sustainability. ICLEI has put urban firmly on the sustainability agenda, working with and effectively advocating for local and subnational governments in the global arena for over 30 years. Next slide, please. ICLEI influences sustainability policy and drives local action for low emission, nature-based, equitable, resilient, and circular development. And we're focusing on our 5 different pathways. Next slide, please. ICLEI is the largest and the oldest global association of cities and subnational governments dedicated to sustainable development. And we work with all cities and regions, large and small, remote or well-connected, no matter where they are on their sustainability journey. We work with cities to optimize finance for sustainability whilst also seeking new funding. We co-produce projects with our cities and modify actions based on real needs. And we are dedicated to facilitating the right connections to strengthen action and drive change. Next slide, please. At ICLEI Africa and ICLEI USA, we develop tools and resources that empower and build the capacity of cities, towns, and regions across the African continent and the United States of America. Next slide, please. So spearheaded by the US office and the Africa Secretariat, the Race Resilience Culture Initiative seeks to build climate resilience by integrating culture and heritage-based strategies into communities across the United States and the African continent. Backed by the Climate Heritage Network and funded through the Mellon Foundation, ICLEI draws on its experience as the first and largest global network of local and regional governments committed to addressing the world's most challenging sustainability issues. Next slide, please. The Race Resilience Culture Initiative aims to support historically underserved communities in becoming more resilient to climate risks through culture, heritage, and the arts. To meet this goal, by 2026, the initiative will mobilize 75 cities to commit to enhancing climate-based actions for climate resilience and adaptation, with measurable progress reported along the way. This inaugural cohort of the Race Resilience Culture includes 31 communities across the US and Africa. This initiative will support local and regional governments across the US and Africa with knowledge building and tools to offer or expand cultural-based heritage strategies, and thereby provide cities with a more comprehensive and likely more successful approach to helping communities transform, persist, and adapt. Next slide, please. So why are we all here today? This exchange brings together artists from both cities to showcase their work and explore how culture and heritage intersect with environmentalism and climate change. At its core, this conversation recognizes the powerful role that artists play in shaping how we understand place, resilience, and our collective relationship with the environment. Next slide, please. And if you're looking to find out more information, you're welcome to get a hold of myself or my US colleagues. Thanks so much. And now I would like to pass over to you, Daniela, to kick us off.
Okay, thank you. It's really great to connect with everyone today. As I'm pulling up that slide, I just want to also recognize that we have some people from our city administration in the room. I want to recognize Julie Benedente, who heads our Climate Smart program, and I want to recognize Devin Bella, who is our cultural strategist in residence and my, I would say, collaborator in many ways on this program. And so I'm going to begin sharing. I'll try to make this brief. So just to give you an introduction to our San Jose Climate Art program, the goal is to help San Jose reach carbon neutrality through arts and culture by 2030. Just to give you an understanding of where San Jose, California is and what the demographic looks like, it is a city of approximately 1 million people. It's the 12th largest city in the United States. It is impacted by climate and pollution and environmental injustice. And we were able to calculate that through the Cal Enviro screen. It is a pretty diverse city comprised of around, I think around like 33% Latinx, so those coming from Hispanic, Latino origins, and then about 35, I think, to 40% Asian broadly. And we have a pretty wide land. We have an urban center, but we also really go outwards into a more regional area. So these are just some demographics to give you an understanding of the environmental impact of San Jose and why this is important to us to connect and work on our carbon impact. So we partner with the Climate Smart initiative, and this is a multi-departmental program within the city that connects San Jose Clean Energy, Environmental Services, Department of Transportation, Cultural Affairs, and Public Works to start to work towards reducing the carbon impact. The 2030 goal is coming up. There's a recent report on where we are from there. And so this particular program, the Climate Art program, is to connect the arts community, sustainability resources, and the Climate Smart initiatives and resources. What San Jose seems to gain out of this program, it helps get the message out. San Jose will lead in this initiative. It's the only program of its kind in the United States. It's meant to increase market demand of sustainable artwork, and then as modeling what is possible. So what we did in our first year is we launched a Resilient Artist Cohort, a Carbon Neutral Creative Network, and a Resource Hub. With our Resilient Artist Cohort, we worked with artists to look up benchmarking, knowledge sharing, action taking, and leading by example. So within that program, we did cohort building, studio operations. We focus on material and processes and embracing adaptation. And you're going to hear a little bit from one of our artists a little bit later on. And today, we also worked on focusing on our what we call our network. And this involved a combination of sustainability organizations, government officials and staff, and then also the arts and cultural sector. We launched with some different charrettes, but also we did workshops in a 2-day symposium that connected what the city had in terms of offering around hazardous waste and to what was helpful for artists in terms of more specific climate and artwork, art supply swaps, looking at materials, looking at how to actually track and measure your artwork as through a different software. And then with our network, we started out by just seeding the leadership within the arts organizations that already had produced sustainability plans. So these are just a couple of our local museums and galleries that actually have put sustainability into action. And we continue to do workshops and connect people in community, focusing on what is of interest to our arts and climate sector. So things like food justice programs that we had this summer. We worked on an organization that looking at climate adaptation and resilience through disaster preparedness for artists with this organization called Barn. And then we put together a healthy paint lab where artists were able to sample different paints to see what if using sustainable paints, what that meant, and actually if that was something they were interested in. And then we continue to connect through our resource hub, through these monthly online meetups, which all of you are welcome to join. We have a Discord channel which you can share your resources with. And then we've actually, this is an old slide. These are some of our previous workshops as well, but we've put a lot of this together so that we can connect online every month. And then we do try quite a bit to do things in person. We've done everything from doing exhibitions at conferences to local workshops. Our next workshop is going to be in April. It's going to be a sustainability fashion workshop with the San Jose Museum of Quilts and Textiles. But we consider ourselves a pretty organic, growing community, and we encourage all of you to connect with us, share your resources of what you've learned and how we can actually work with you and adapt. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleague in uMhlathuze.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's late here in South Africa. I know that it's in the morning in the US. So good morning to all of you that side. My name is uMhlathuze. I'm the city manager for uMhlathuze. It's supposed to be His Worship the Mayor who's welcoming all of you here, but unfortunately he's running a bit late. He's going to be joining us, so I'm not going to fully welcome you. I don't want to be fired tomorrow morning, having broken all the protocols of the city. But I must say that being part of this session is very much interesting. From the watershed moment of 1980 or 1982 of the Rio de Janeiro conference, where the concept of sustainable development leading to matters of climate change, even today, whenever you think about climate change, you only think about the big concepts of power dynamics, power sharing, issues around minerals, whether to get rid of coals and stuff like that. But then you never think of climate change in relation to the role that needs to be played by arts and culture. So it's quite interesting that today here we are talking to another city in America, discussing issues of how to integrate matters of culture and arts into the discourse of climate change. So with those words, I want to welcome all of you colleagues and wish that going forward, we're going to have a very productive and sustainable engagement with you. It's not going to last only today. I've seen the artists from the township that are part of this meeting. They're going to entertain you and they're going to show you some good work that they're doing in the township in the interest of trying to promote justice and climate change in the areas where we come from. With those words, I will hand over to Mtogo and Brenda to take you through the presentation that shows who we are as the city of uMhlathuze. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager, and I will carry on with the few slides. And I can just echo again we are really excited to be with you, and we've got quite a few artists in the room next door to us, which will also speak to you shortly. So we can go to the next slide. I'd like to start just with a brief background of our municipality. For our visitors, we are visitors to you and the like. There's a map of Africa. We're in South Africa, right on the south, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. One of the municipalities called uMhlathuze, as you can see on that image. And as you can see, just look down below, definitely scenery-wise, one of the most beautiful settings that you can imagine. I can dare anybody to fly in here over our city and show me a prettier landing than that when you see that, when you land in Richards Bay. We've got a population in our municipality of just over 400,000 people, an area of 1,233 square kilometers. And importantly, half of our area is considered rural area, which has got still under the traditional authority. And that brings about its own uniquenesses in terms of services provision, communication, internet connections and the like. We have the largest seaport in the Southern Hemisphere. We pride ourselves with that in terms of volumes, specifically with bulk exports. Various minerals are exported and imported from our port. Just coal alone is 90 million tons a year. We've got an industrial development zone, that's like a special economic zone. And we have various tertiary education facilities, and having researched your own city of San José, we might be a bit smaller, but we've got similarities into tertiary sector, etc., etc. And then on the climate change elements, like our city manager has pointed out, we're one of the first municipalities in our country. There's like 250 odd municipalities in South Africa that actually complied with our new Climate Change Act, which promulgated in 2024. And we prepared our climate change needs assessment and implementation response plan. So we do feel that we are definitely pursuing this topic and this opportunity to share what we have done and also learn what we can still do is appreciated. Just in terms of size and finances, I try to convert our municipal budget to dollars, so you can just see that yesterday's exchange rate, how we can compare financially in terms of the budget that we have at our disposal. Please go to the next slide. Before I go to the next slide, you can also see natural environment. We've got the elephant whisperer in our area and the like. So it's quite an interesting environment. Please proceed to the next slide. Okay. I wanted to just show a few examples of activities that are touching on the climate change, resilience, and the like. Two art pieces at the top are from one of our visitors here today, Ben Thusi. He's fine art. He will explain to us just now the symbolism behind his artwork. The one is entitled The Waterfall, and the other one is called African Elephant. And then on the right, this was on a visit to our small local museum. The sculpture called Mr. Nkumalu had the most beautiful wildlife sculptures in this museum. And the curator shared with us that he does not cut down a tree to sculpture. He takes a dead tree that's already fallen. So just again, signifying the sensitivity to the environment. We've had a schools competition where we asked learners from one of our towns to sketch the future with climate change intervention and without. At the bottom, you can see there on the left is without climate change intervention, and on the right with climate change intervention. Our learners at school are already feeling and experiencing what the impacts would be of climate change on us. The next picture is just various festivals we have with schools, specifically on World Environment Day, when the children at this specific event, they made stuff out of waste and came and presented to us what they have. Next slide, please. Then some more examples also from World Environment Day celebrations. We one of the years gone by was the topic was air quality. And in one of our towns we had all the schools mobilized, cleaning up and the like. And you can see the middle top, there's a picture of 3 ladies with night evening gowns, which were made from recyclable materials. These were students from our local university, and newspaper magazines they used to make gowns for the event. And the lady in the middle is actually using the municipal recycling plastic bags for her gown. Some more school children who presented to us on their ideas of energy efficiency and how they can present such. The middle at the bottom, our industries are also assisting us and taking part in our events. And then to the right, there's another picture from what the school pupils, there was primary school pupils, how they see the future if we do not address climate change, crippling heat waves, crop failures, worsening coastal flooding and the like. We've also onboarding our tourism team. The pictures you see at the top right are at the local skateboard park. You can see local artists are given the opportunity to express themselves, and there's no reason why in future they'll express themselves on matters relating to climate change. Let's carry on, please. The 2 feature artists for us, as I said, is Mr. Ben Thusi. They're in the room next to us, where the art is actually on display. And then we got the Elangeni Community Development Group. They will actually do in our 10 minutes, they will do a short performance for you. So I'm not going to say too much about them. They're going to actually introduce themselves. And then I also just provided the various contact details for the City of uMhlathuze in terms of Facebook, X, the website, as well as Instagram. You'll see we actually do regularly post various social medias on these platforms, also with climate change topics. I think that's for me now. I think my colleague uMhlathuze Mhlongo just wants to add a few words, please.
Colleagues in the US, a very good morning, and colleagues in SA, good evening. No, I think just to add on what my colleagues have shared in relation to climate change, which is that we're also participating in the voluntarily localizing a review in terms of SDGs. With that, we've also learned a lot in terms of how best we can use our local and on our environment in relation to the SDGs that make reference to our daily activities. As Brenda has indicated, there have been so many awarenesses in relation to climate change equality. However, during this program as well, we have discovered that there is a lot that we are yet to discover, because the communities on the ground, they are also doing a lot of activities that talks to the climate change. So I think moving forward with such great programs, it's going to assist us to engage more with our communities, to ensure that we do understand, and also they also understand the issue of adaptation as well as the mitigation. So I think in a nutshell, want to appreciate these type of engagements. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, colleagues from uMhlathuze. Now it's going to be your time to hand over to your artists.
So while we're waiting for them to work out the sound issues, which we will have momentarily, I also want to recognize one of our city council members who has just joined the call, David Cohen, who has been in our elected leadership, leading a lot of our sustainability and climate initiatives, including working on getting a lot of trees planted in San Jose and other policies. So I want to recognize his support in that, along with all the other staff and public service workers from San Jose who have really worked really hard to reduce our carbon impact and really help us shore up our resiliency and adaptation. It is a really important city and community effort to do so. So I want to recognize them and thank them again for doing that.
We are ready to introduce Elangeni to you.
They will come forward and do the rest. Thank you.
Konani, dumelang, abushemi, bonjour, dimatekwana, haputi, habariako jambo, si jambo, buenas tardes. Hello, mama. Hello, papa. Hello, amigos. Welcome. Oh, welcome to the city of uMhlathuze. And we are a group called Elangeni Community Development. We do not promote gender-based violence. We do not promote xenophobia, but we promote love, unity, and peace. So sit back and relax while we take your breath away.
That was a celebration of the coming back of His Majesty, the King Joyo Kampani. He came back from England through his colors and goals. It's Kawi. It's of the old way of Mashangala, Wesamadube. He then goes to Mbangi, Royal House, now Mbangi. The city of uMhlathuze is located in King Joyo's heritage route. And today, times have changed. The city has now heavy industries in Moni that produce different products like aluminium, iron ore, acid, and coal. Yeah. And these coals, when these fossil fuels are banned, they then deplete the ozone layer, then we have acid rain, then we have floods, and then after the floods, we then have a big challenge, which is climate change. Very huge challenge, but what I need.
Really? Do I deserve all of this? Today I am homeless because of that. It was a heavy fall, like the one when Noah's tears. I never thought. I was falling away. My still furniture. My identity documents. Who am I? A person with no papers. Mina. Let's even apply for emergency housing. I was
I'm Jordan Nguni from Italy. I'm one of the biggest farmers ever. I had cows, farms, and everything that you can imagine.
Where not?
Me.
Really?
And because of drugs, I lost everything. Because of drugs, I lost everything that I had. I had a beautiful house.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Don't ask me.
Oh, I know you will help me. Oh,
Don't ask me.
She's hungry. She's hungry.
Sit down. Sit Singane no Tony. Tony no Tony. Singane. Tony. Tony. Praise the Lord. And I once told me my BP was too high. There was so much heat. It is cold. It is hot. It is cold. It is hot. She couldn't survive. How? I lost my baby. How? Who told you? My baby. Don't die. He's my face, man. Oh, why did you turn that face? I told this guy to move when I died, and she got me on the face. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. Let me get it. Oh. Today, I'm suffering from head pain. Finally, I leave because they took my house. I've got nothing, not everything, because of cancer. Oh, my God. I'm sleeping here in the test rank. Me! I'm struggling the messages.
What causes the consequences? What's happening? Why these people are homeless? Oh, it is the effect of climate change. They've lost their houses through floods. They've lost their farms and their cattle through drought. Yeah. And we need to do something about this so that to sustain the environment. We must do something as a people of South Africa. We must stand up as so many. Those fumes that comes from these industries, they go up and deplete the ozone layer. And then we have acid rain, and that acid rain affects the plantations. And the farmers, they suffer as a consequence of that. I think we need peace. A peaceful world. A world when we as a people of Africa protect the nature, because if we protect the nature, we are protecting our habitat, and we are going to live securely here in Africa.
everyone. My name is Thusi, the visual artist. I'm going to be very brief because I'm not very good in terms of expressing myself using words. I'm using paint and brush to speak the language of art. Firstly, I have to start by thanking the opportunity for the integration, especially when it comes to art. As you see, the theatrical piece that was that leave the stage at the moment, it's really touched my my heart, because this is my this is the whole me. In fact, when we talk about the climate change, it's a serious topic for me because it touches a lot, and it comes back to us as an artist because we're struggling a lot. But this integration and initiative is going to assist us in terms of helping the community and the society to understand the importance of taking care of the nature itself, especially using the media of performing arts and visual art. As you see, my artwork expressed one the same thing, the subtopics that were highlighted by the theatrical piece that left the stage. It touches the agricultural sector, the mining sector, as you see, recycling sector, because as you see the elephant on that my right-hand side, you will see that that elephant is an artificial elephant. But the biggest challenge that we encounter as a community, it's laws. As you see, I'm always like to present myself expressing the law, because the most challenging moment, especially us and the government institution, especially when it comes to understanding and the precautions of saving the environment, it's the laws that abide us as community versus our biological laws. Because as you see, in this artwork, I'm talking about, I'm expressing myself about the mining sector. As you see, this hand is being exaggerated. It's I'm sorry. The whole piece is titled as waterfall, because of the resources that we are rich as South Africa, especially Richards Bay and uMhlathuze. We are an industrial zone that got a very high privilege of mining zone, especially the aluminium, all kinds of minerals. But we end up being faced by the challenge that we feel like all the benefits are being taken by the outer hand, which are all the countries that are not belonging to the South African. So it's become a challenge to us, because how are we going to preserve this nature? Because that's how we need to survive. We have to cut these trees. But if we educate our community, we will definitely feel that we should be participating, especially us as artists. This initiative also sparked a big hope to us that now I'm going to receive material. Now I'm going to have a moment to come and integrate with other artists overseas, maybe through internet or whatever streams that might help us. Please ensure that now in this sector, I'm talking about agricultural, the environment also, it feels like it's more of Western. I think you will agree with me when you said this scarecrow looks more familiar in the Western countries, because even the dress code itself signifies the judicial gown, which is the law that is challenging us as the citizen. But as you see, it's only those clever bits, because I'm using the what you call metaphoric language. I'm using symbolism. These bits symbolize those who've got the privilege to went to school to understand these laws. and then those are the one who benefit to the economy, because as you see, it might be the maize or the wheat symbolize the wealth that is being harvested in our land. But without the precautions and the strong laws that protect us as community, we feel like we are excluded or exclusive in this economy. By doing so, we don't participate. We don't care whether climate change hit us in a negative way or what. But once you integrate with us as artists, we feel hope that maybe we will be the one that we translate, because we are the medium into the community, that we tell the community that, ladies and gentlemen, the time has changed. We need to take care of everything, but the laws should integrate with us. As it feels more Western, it doesn't touch us as more, especially as Africans. So there mustn't be this exclusion between us and the law. So I hope you will protect us, especially the artists from the other side, as well as us in the African, especially South African hemisphere, especially in the uMhlathuze region. Because now we've got hope in you that the education, the initiative that you have started, we hope that we're going to take it, we're going to grab with both hands and then try to send the message. We're going to show that we are there existing, and then we fight, because this is a disease. It's a poverty if we're not taking care of our land and these laws. The last one, which is, I like it because even my local in my municipality talked boldly about the elephant. This is the very wealth region, as we've spoken, especially we've got tourism sector in our area, which attracts a number of tourism. But if we are not taking care of those animals, I think recent years, there have been a rhino poaching, all those things, and people are doing, they are making African medicine using these plants. We hope people they understand that together we should fight, because now it looks like this is not a real elephant. It's an artificial, because it's used by the recycled tires, motor tires, and then these police, it seems like there is there's a bag in between the law itself that look like an idolism. So in terms of looking the law as the real board, because I believe that law is board itself. So we should obey, both of us, the entity from the government as well as the community. Together we incorporate and then we fight what we aim to fight. I said I'll briefly, let me stop by there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to the artists from uMhlathuze. We really appreciate you sharing your crafts with us, beautiful performance and really beautiful paintings that you've shared. So thank you so much. Open the floor very briefly for if there are any questions or remarks for our uMhlathuze artists.
This was fantastic. I know that there was so much love and effort and put into that. For those who were also coming in, the artist that you heard last was been Thusi, and then the performances were by the collective Elangeni Community Development. And I don't know if Ben and Elangeni, if you can share any websites or ways that we can be in touch with you, because I think that those of us on this call would really love to do that. So that would be fantastic. And I think that you all are, resituating yourselves before we get into the other ones. But anyone else have anything else they want to add? So I want to just share a little bit about our Climate Art Resilient program. We piloted this program a couple years ago where artists spent the whole summer learning about sustainability and applying that to their own practice. And several of those artists are actually on this call. So I also want to shout out to Julie Cardenas and Valentina Layola, who have been amazing in continuing their work around sustainability and climate. And today we are spotlighting Steven Nizottes Rubalcaba, who is also one of our former San Jose Creative Ambassadors from last year, who continues to really demonstrate a lot of the sustainability values in his work. And so I'm going to pass it over to Steven to share his journey, and feel free to connect in the chat, and I'll add his information in the chat as well.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. Let me see. Good morning, everybody. Good evening to the South African folks here on the call. My name is Steven Nizottes Rubalcaba. Well, number one, I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm here home alone, right? It's morning here in San Jose, California. It's a little cold in my house. It's always cold here. But seeing their performance, being here today, like I feel nice and warm. I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel nice and cuddly. But thank you so much for having me here today. Again, my name is Steven Rubalcaba. I'm a local, born and raised San Jose, California artist. I've been making stuff since I was, I guess, yay tall. My current practice is I'm focusing on resilience. I'm focusing on reuse. So all of my art projects that I'm up to, focused on using at least 75% reused materials, which has been really fantastic and really, it's been really eye-opening to me, forced me to reflect on a good amount of things on my existence here. And yeah, like Danielle said, I've been doing a lot of community engaged art, and that's where my practice is currently. I love doing it. And I guess I'm going to start back when I was really young. So I'm fourth generation, born and raised here in California, San Jose, the South Bay. This is my my grandmother, and my father's right here in the middle. That's Steve Sr. And you know, most of my life we grew up low on resources, low on income. We had a lot of government assistance, so we didn't have a lot of stuff. And it only took me being an adult that I really realized that, you know, we were forced to be resourceful. We were forced to be creative. And, you know, being younger, it wasn't always easy. Shopping around at secondhand stores, I wouldn't want to be seen by my friends or peers. And, you know, we didn't have a lot, but we made do. We moved around a lot when I was a kid, so it wasn't easy to maintain friendships at schools. And you're seeing a montage of photos of my father. There's some pictures of me and my siblings when I was young. There's me at graduation and my beautiful mother. I'm very grateful and thankful that my family they play a big part in my life. Most of them are down the street from me. So I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful to have access to them. They're my biggest support system. And when I say family, I'm not just talking about the people in my blood. Even my partner, Linda, of over 20 years, she's one of the biggest supporters of mine. But when I was younger, I just really remember a lot of the women around me being crafty, being creative. My mother was one of them. She's still making things and tinkers around with stuff. And my father, when I was young, wasn't around a lot. You know, he was in and out of incarceration, if I'm being honest. So a lot of the times it was just me, my siblings, and my mom. And I'm the oldest of all my siblings. So I was there trying to keep things on track. But when my dad was away, he would always send me these pictures for my birthday, maybe graduation, whatever it was. And I'll never forget how important these were to me, especially when I was in elementary school. You know, I was like younger than 10. I would trace these drawings. And I had a real bad stutter, by the way. It was pretty nasty. Had a real bad stutter. I was looking forward to my uncle's hand-me-down clothes. But what I learned real early on is that when I was showing my friends, this is a drawing I copied, I'll never forget, this little Mickey Mouse picture. But when I was showing my friends these things, or my classmates, I realized real quick that they were accepting of me. For whatever reason, you know, I didn't the discomfort of where I was at in life, right? Low on income, moving all the time, um, parents struggling and trying to do their best. So it affected me. But when I would show my friends this stuff, like it was like my way in. Like it didn't matter what was going on with me in my personal life. Like I was accepted just from some pictures that I had drew. And, you know, come middle school, right? Come middle school, I started finding my own voice. I discovered the world of hip hop culture in the early 90s, right? I always heard it on the radio. I never really identified or figured out what it was. But middle school is where I really dug deep and learned about it. And I started doing a lot of unsanctioned graffiti murals here around the Bay Area. And I mean, you can see some of these drawings. I started off writing my name, right? I wasn't too sure what I was doing, but I was trying to express myself. I wasn't always good with words. I would hold everything in. My growing up was like, okay, get over it. That happened in the past. Don't talk about it. It's done with. Move on. Um, and it's hard to live that way. So I would express myself with all these pictures. Come the mid 90s, I got really heavily into the graffiti mural movement here in the Bay Area. I couldn't find any pictures of my old graffiti. You know, this is when pictures were actually printed out and stuff. But I have some old graffiti black books from the late 90s to the early 2000s. And these are just a lot of the pictures I was drawing. And a lot of the times I draw these pictures in black books, whatever the heck I got my hands on, just so I can get some spray paint and go spray paint them up somewhere. Again, usually without permission. I got in trouble on more than one occasion with the law. And I was a kid that rarely got in trouble. I mean, I didn't want my parents to know I got in trouble, because then that means I get in trouble at home too. So after getting in trouble a couple of times, I said, okay, it's time to change the game. It's time to switch my trajectory. I can't keep doing this, but I have this urge to create. So I picked up paintbrush, picked up some acrylics paints, picked up some canvases, and I was painting on and off since I began in early 2001. And I was painting on and off, trying to find different mediums, playing with different materials for about 15, 20 years. I would make the occasional art piece for a friend. I'd just stay busy making stuff. I would participate in one-off art shows, group art shows. I wasn't taking it serious, right? I mean, me, I have a full-time day job that is not in the arts. And then I have a full-time art job. And I don't make that much money, but I have a great time. I have a lot of fun. I have these beautiful conversations with people. So painting was a struggle for me. I would obsess. I would tell myself I'm not good enough, right? Kind of like a lot of people might do. I'd beat myself up a lot. And fast forward, I got my hands on some tools, right? I didn't have any tools. And I started just reusing things that I had around me. I mean, in 2018, I started tinkering around and fixing up our house. Me and my partner, Linda, she's so smart. She's smarter and braver than me. So she's like, yo, let's become homeowners. Our parents are aging. We got to figure some stuff out. And I got my hands on some power tools, and I had a lot of scrap wood, a lot of scrap materials. So I was able to execute these ideas that I kind of had in my head that I would obsess on when trying to paint it and make it real. But I was able to execute these things with basically trash, right? Old wood. I mean, so all of this artwork you'll see is just stuff I made. Again, almost everything is made from reused materials. I clean it up, I sand it up, I add paint to it, and I'm in love with it. I mean, I think I'm obsessed with math, even though I'm not that good at math. I'm obsessed with depth and texture. I'm obsessed with symmetry and asymmetry. I love old analog tech. I got so much of it. When I was younger, music was big in my life. You would always catch me on the public transportation or walking around with my headphones in. I had tons and tons and tons of cassette tapes. I would bootleg them, buy them. Me and my friends would share them. I still have all that stuff. So I would love turning all of these old items, all of these old objects, things that were near and dear to me. I'm not playing cassette tapes really nowadays, but I felt the need to breathe new life into this stuff. Let's give it new life, right? We can all kind of be reborn in some kind of ways. I know I have. I mean, the guy you're seeing today has, there's been many different versions of me over the years, over my existence, and I think it can be the same for objects and items. So I've been obsessed with adding a lot of old analog tech into my artwork, and it's kind of crazy because it all started with this image coming up right here. And no, it's not my buddy boy Teddy. I got my hands on a used miter saw, y'all. A friend of mine, he's like a contractor guy. He lent me this miter saw. It was used. He had extras, and because of this one tool here, it just kind of expanded my idea and just visions of what art can be. Again, I was only splashing paint on canvas. And then I kind of expanded and was able to do more things with just a simple tool. And since then, this miter saw has died. It's finally broken. Well, it didn't really break, but the cord, the cable that plugged into the wall kind of got jacked up. And guess what I did? I had a buddy that knows how to fix this stuff, and I gave it to him. And I had to upgrade and get a newer one. But when I think about my buddy Bart giving this to me, he lent it to me, then ended up giving it to me. And then all the things that I've made just from this one tool has really changed my life. And now when I look around, and this is so thanks to the Resilient Artist cohort, which I'll talk about in a moment or two. Before I joined that cohort in 2024, I kind of used to think a little bit narrow-minded. What do I mean by that? I used to only see like wood and old analog tech stuff that I liked, like Walkman, cassette tapes, Discman, tapes, VHS tapes, 8 tracks. I mean, there's all kinds of various tapes I've discovered. But ever since the Resilient Artist cohort, I see everything as a possible art medium, not just a few items. And these are just a few things I see all the time. These photos I captured, it's down the street from my day job. I go on walks, I scout the area for materials. I got an old 1992 Dodge Dakota pickup truck, and I load that thing up with materials and bring it home and try to find space for it. So once I do that, I kind of just chop it up, sand it down, and this middle piece, I know my slides are kind of busy. Thanks for bearing with me. I kind of just play around. I just cut stuff up, and I literally just play freely. I really enjoy just letting my mind and my hands just kind of work intuitively. I don't know about you all here, but when I'm working, making things, I always have music on in the background, always, at all different noise levels, sometimes real loud, sometimes low, but I'm just kind of vibing out doing my thing. It's what really quiets the noise up here. There's a lot of noise, and it brings me peace. And like I mentioned, going back a couple of years to the Resilient Artist cohort, I started getting more active in the community. Started signing up for things, looking for opportunities, finding an arts community. And what I learned by being in the Resilient Artist cohort, like I mentioned, is when I walk into a thrift store or a garage sale or the flea market or the swap meet, I literally see everything as a possible art medium. When I'm walking around and I see trash near the dumpsters, I'm like, ooh, what could I use that as? How could I reuse this? How can we breathe new life into this? And that really motivated me when I was last year's City of San Jose's creative ambassador. What was I trying to do, right? I have all this information that I'm using to myself. I volunteer at a local art gallery. I'm sharing with them all the tools that I've learned about resilience, about sustainability. And I'm sharing it with the community. So part of my community art projects were, let's use at least 75% reused materials. You probably saw, let me see if I can rewind this here. These are a lot of the community art events that I hosted. I did a bunch of them last year. We did them at some of the senior centers. I did them at some of the local festivals. We were reusing magazines. We were reusing, and I would go to the public libraries. I was getting a ton of magazines from there for free. We were using reused printer paper. We were using reused Post-it notes, reused wooden panels. I started getting crazy, and then I started building sculptures to collage up. We were basically making collages. We were making mosaics, right? Like all of these pieces were co-created by me and basically the people of San Jose. I don't think I made any of this art. We were using bicycles. And one of the most beautiful things that I experience when I'm doing these events is, there's a lot of people that think art is beyond their grasp. Resilience is beyond their grasp. But what I was trying to promote is low barrier art making. Express yourself. We would have some creative prompts for people. And some of my favorite folks were the people that would walk up and be like, no, I don't make art. I'm not good at it, right? I'm not good at it. And they would be some of my best people. They would start creating, they'd hang around for a long time, and all of a sudden they're artists, right? And it's not like it was all of a sudden. They came here as a creative person. Sometimes we just might not always recognize that. And when I would see the youth like just kind of light up, it reminds me of when I was a kid and when I would make things and see the way adults would react and respond. So it was really warm. I have a lot of other things that I'm up to this year, trying to go bigger. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out. And I'm glad I have a big community here that's strong and smart and willing to help me on this journey. But with that, I would just like to say thank you for joining me here this morning / evening. I would love if y'all would follow my creative journey in resilience and art making and expression. And I guess that's all I got for today. But thank you all again so much. Any questions, or back to you, Danielle? Thanks again.
Thank you, Steven. That's fantastic. We'll do questions after Folake's presentation, but this is a great invitation to create and to think about the journey of where you can go and how you can learn along the way. So I want to introduce our next artist. I would say culture keeper, Folake Phillips, who created AWO Center and has really been able to think about the connection between inclusion and sustainability in climate, and has served as a climate fellow with the county, and can also share some of the work that the artist that she works with has created, but also really how she is framed this in within the context of AWO Center and the other organizations that she works with. So Folake, I'm handing it over to you.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Steven, for a wonderful, wonderful presentation. That was beautiful, and for pouring out your heart and sharing your personal story. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Good morning, good evening to those in South Africa. It's lovely to be here. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you to you and your team for putting this together. I'm going to get right into it because we actually have an event right now, and I am super late, so I'm going to be banging through our presentation. If it can be pulled up, that'll be good. In the meantime, my name is Folake Phillips, and awesome, yay. And that's the name of our organization. I am a Yoruba woman from Nigeria, based in Los Gatos, California. Thank you, Danielle. You can learn more about our organization through our website, but I'll say very quickly that we take a different role, but it's also that collective role of what does art begin to mean to us in the wider scope of things. And we're a social justice nonprofit organization, and we use the arts, we use culture a lot to curate programming that are thought-provoking, that bring, next slide please, as we like to say, the different shades of humanity together to create, to engage, to learn from one another, to break cultural silos. The first thing is, how do we come together in a space where we can exchange, where we can be equal thought partners, where we can learn from one another. And when we do that, we use the power of the arts and culture a lot, and it's interwoven with innovation. We have a VR immersive exhibition right now, showcase, right now, that we're doing at one of the colleges here, and we use the environment and we use great artists, local artists in the community to do this work. Next slide, please. Oops. I'll just read our mission very quickly and skip over the next slide. Our mission as an organization is to share, amplify, and celebrate the unheard stories of diverse individuals, youth, and families through storytelling, culture, lived experiences, advocacy, and community-centered programs. We work to build accurate cultural narratives while promoting equity, self-sufficiency, and holistic well-being within the communities we serve. Next slide, please. Last year, 2025, actually 2024, we were discussing with San Jose State Universities, which is one of our big universities here in the Bay Area. And we were looking at what is called the Silicon Valley Pain Index report. And that report, not so many people know about it. A lot of people know about the Silicon Valley Business Report that showcases a lot of businesses, how they're doing, the money that is being made, and the wealth in Silicon Valley. Yes, we're based in Silicon Valley. And so we decided we wanted to look at the Silicon Valley Pain Index, of course, as a social justice nonprofit. We wanted people to be more aware of this report. We wanted people to be more aware of the deeper issues when we juxtapose wealth and pain or poverty and social challenges and what that could look like. And what we've done is done a quick summary of what that report entails for the most part, which is where it shows and documents the disparities, the persistent disparities that have been historical and have continued to widen between people here in the Bay Area. And if you look at the notes on the left of the slide, you see under wealth, the first point is that 9% of households equals $110 billion. This was as of last year. I think April, this data was collected. As at this time, when I checked 2 days ago, those 9 households, their wealth equals $136 billion in less than a year of comparison. And when we talk about that wealth of 136 billion, we have that wealth being equating to 12 times more than the wealth of the 50% of the bottom of the population in terms of household. And that kind of summates to for about 440,000 people. And their wealth is 12 times more than the wealth of about 440,000 people, according to this report. This report, by the way, it was put together in partnership with the Human Rights Institute at San Jose State University. So just to kind of give you the a visual of the kind of disparities we're talking about and how San Jose is the number 4 most affordable city in the world, really. And on the other hand, you have in the same city 208 people who are unhoused who died in 2024. We don't have the exact numbers for 2025. We hope that it has gone down, but those are kind of the realities that we work with. Next slide, please. And so what we did is that we put out an open call to local artists in the Bay Area. We got some amazing submissions, and we featured the selected submissions. We had a juror select the artists, and we partnered with a local radio station called KALW 91.7 FM. We partnered with them to have this exhibition of the artist's work after they had looked at the climate change aspect of the Silicon Valley Pain Report and created their art based off of that. And in this presentation, I'll be talking about the work of 2 artists, even as we had 6 artists. In the collage here, I wanted to make sure that we showed all of the artists we work with, the KALW space in San Francisco, just audience members engaging with what was put out to the public. A quick summary of the way we did the work is that we had 6 artists whose work was featured for 2 months, exhibited at the KALW art gallery space. And then we had a digital artist, AR, VR curator who reimagined what that physical artwork would look like and gave it a twist of his own. We co-created to some aspects, had a lot of discussions. Coincidentally, we're from the same place, not the same place, but we're from the same country. And the issues he wanted to talk about were issues that I knew about, and we could bring more life to it. And I'll show that in the next slide. Next slide, please. That's just a quick slide of us, our co-lead and artist on this project, Bernard Brown. I want to appreciate and thank her. VR, AR curator, who you hear from, one of the artists we're spotlighting, and Celia C. Peters, the other artists that we're spotlighting. And then shout out to Grace Chung, Raymond Banke, Marion Rosas, and Akeem Rahim, who are the other artists whose works were showcased last year, May. Next slide, please. So very quickly, I'll talk about Celia's artist. You can read about her. I hope these slides will be made available to you. It's okay to do so without the artist's work, because yeah, that I need to check. But the most of the presentation and the artist's bio, it's okay to share with anyone else. In her work that we exhibited two, and I'm going to be talking about one, which is the 3-paneled one above. That her piece of work focused specifically on the DRC and the first of all, the eels that go on and that connection to Silicon Valley, where a lot of the cobalt and raw materials are sourced, again, from the DRC in Central Africa. We have children mining, so there's a big issue around that, and let's not even get into the war and all the things that have occurred there and still continue to occur. But again, looking at where we are in Silicon Valley, and now all of these materials are drawn from there, the comparison, the wealth disparity over there and on the continent in the DRC. If you look at that first panel, you see little children mining cobalt. You see the flag of the DRC. There's a Afronaut, as the artist called it, who, without giving much thought to what's happening much more deeply. You have Silicon Valley in the background and just, allowing these things to happen all around her. The second panel in our artwork kind of shifts a bit and looks at where there's even more children, and then she has a mobile phone in her hand this time. We know that a lot of the mobile phones, a lot of laptops, a lot of chips and what have you, their raw materials are sourced from countries like the DRC. The DRC, I think, is the largest, they have the largest deposit of cobalt in the world. And so just looking at how this differences in livelihood, in expectations of life, social determinants of health, how they play out when this sort of exploitation occurs. In the last panel, she has reimagined a better world. So this is not just about gloom, there's some hope. She has reimagined a better world where hopefully we are I think she called that particular artwork the Dyson, I forget the exact name now, what she called that third piece. But the concept is about reimagining some extraterrestrial, extra powerful, extra intelligent people or entities from another world who are connected to us, and we are actually reimagining and rethinking how to do things in a better way that doesn't harm the environment, that doesn't harm the individuals, human beings, the immediate community. And right there, the Afronaut is extracting materials right into that Dyson in a safe way. And really, the artist is asking us to question whether we are those extra terrestrial people, we're those intelligent people that can do things in a better way, use the earth's resources in a way that preserves the earth, in a way that protects it, in a way that we are protected, in a way that has equity, and we're not just taken from one place, causing harm in that place and then taken to another place and building wealth with all the money and extracts from that place. So that's a challenge to us as a people. And when we think about climate change and our role and the role of art in creating a better world, in creating opportunities for engagement and for these hard, difficult, honest conversations, this art piece really, stood out and contributed to that effort. Next slide, please. And then this one was the VR exhibition. I'll have it played in just a minute so that you can hear directly from the artist. But again, this is where the artists picked all the physical artwork that were exhibited for 2 months, reimagined it, and shared about his own experiences growing up in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, where I'm also from. And because the title of our exhibition that year was Unhindered Parents, there's a lot of ties to music, a lot of ties to culture, and some of it is reflected here. So take a listen. It'll start shortly. All the art pieces you see around the art pieces that were exhibited for 2 months in San Francisco. And he'll start talking shortly. And you see the hands, the gloves for the VR, guiding people how to move through their immersive experience. I think he should be talking now. I don't hear it. Do you all hear something?
No, don't hear the sound. Kyra, maybe you need to share video settings on your side.
Yeah, there is audio and it should play.
Totally other version. When we try to use the YouTube app, it doesn't show anything.
There is some audio. Okay, I hope that can be resolved, but I'll talk a little bit of the video is not.
Okay. However,
What do I just go through this briefly?
We'll be right there.
Yes, I think that would be a wise idea.
Yeah, because there is audio on that. We double, triple check. Okay, can he? Okay, I'll give a quick summary. In Port Harcourt, Nigeria, where the artist is from, there's a lot of oil companies that are based there. There's a lot of oil spillage. There's a lot of damage to the environment and pollution going on, unchecked to a very large extent. The artist himself, he grew up with asthma and many environmental related diseases due to living close to the different oil companies and the oils that go into the environment, that spill into the environment. There's a black pit that you see in that artwork, and this is all flat. You do have to have a VR headset to be immersed in this experience, but there's a black pit in there somewhere, and you see some bubbles in it, and that represents the oil right in the center of a lot of right, affecting a lot of communities. And there's like some brown snake-like, I don't mean to frighten anyone, shaped like tree trunks. So if you just imagine tree trunks, all, spreading their roots and water view around. And that's all of the different roots and the how things get into the ground and how it spreads and how it affects the environment. All of that was captured in the artwork and the design of this experience. This statue that you see here is of Fela Kuti, who is the pioneer of Afrobeat music genre, not Afrobeats, Afrobeat music genre, who was a great artist. Music activism was his role, and he sang and talked and challenged the government a lot about these issues that continue to exist today in Nigeria. In a lot of it is done in partnership with countries like the US, UK, Italy, and just communities, how this impact communities. He talked a lot about that, and I know that in the audio, the artist is talking about how he'll be very proud of seeing the work continue, the fight for justice and what have you in this kind of spaces. So he was embedded in there to, as you know, the ancestors looking down from above and looking down at the work that is being done and saying, they're proud of us. That's what that concept is about. There's also like a butterfly. I don't know if any one of you noticed it. You can replay the video. There's like or rewind it. There's like a butterfly in there where we were using that particular butterfly and the messaging around it to promote Africa Day, which was coming up after this exhibition. And we were going to have some we did share some information with the community about the butterflies of Africa, how they're being endangered. We were spotlighting them. Africa has over 2,000 species of butterflies. I think it's the most diverse in the world. And we were sharing about those butterflies, but we used that butterfly to also share about the event that was coming up. So the artists really got creative and brought a lot together. It was a wonderful experience for the community in San Francisco. People came from far and wide, had their headsets on and were immersed in all that was going on. That's the pitch I was talking about. And you see those like snake-like shaped pieces. So yeah, so that's the quick summary of that. Next slide. I want to imagine the next slide is a summary. Yeah, the next slide is just really about thank you and asking you to visit our website to join the movement and let us hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for your time, and over to you, Danielle. Thank you.
Thank you, Folake, for this presentation. I know you also have to jump. I do want to just open the floor for any quick comments or questions or discussion. I think this has been a really cool opportunity to hear from different contexts. And does anybody want to share or have any questions or?
I don't have a question, but rather a remark on saying that it's so amazing how everybody engages with art in so many different ways. And Folake, I really love your organization and the humanity that really brought a smile to my face. So I just want to congratulate all the artists that have presented today. We really appreciate it. And I've been really inspired. So thank you for your creative minds.
With that, thank you all very much. And hopefully we can collaborate again down the road. But I'm glad that we were able to have this exchange. Thank you, Steven and Folake, and thank you, Ben, and the others from uMhlathuze who've shared. And thanks to all of you who for really being part of this movement.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's been a great thing to achieve under the Race to Resilience Culture Initiative. And we hope to see many more exchanges like this taking place between other cities, maybe as part of the academy. So thank you so much, Danielle, for leading and organizing this and welcoming us as part of your art program.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope everyone in America enjoys the rest of your day, and those in the Southern Hemisphere enjoy your evening. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Kayo, also for all the work that you've put together for this. So until next time.
Thanks, everybody.